Hey, what's happening, everybody? Robert Phoenix here. It is 8:39 on a very wet, wild, and crazy morning here in Fredericksburg, Texas. Just waiting for all the streams to connect up. Looks like we are now streaming live on YouTube, and the latency factor has been minimized with the addition of the new equipment. I got new equipment. And I'm in Studio B tonight. I'll be back in Studio A tomorrow. The storm that's going through here, passing through here right now, is completely insane. We're getting thunder that sounds like bombs, some sheet lightning, and some rain. Not as much as one would think with the storm that's aggressive, or at least sounding as aggressive. It started last night, by the way. Right after last night's show, and it's just been flashing and exploding all night long. So what's going on out there? This is Robert Phoenix. You're watching 15 Minutes of Flame. Going to be doing kind of a brief show today, annotated version. We got 12 people in there. Good morning, Isla, Judy. Hey, Scoobs, what's happening? Saw your message on Facebook. I'll get back to that. Justice, how are you today? Misty Minor. There's Ani. Ian, morning, Ian. Justin, anybody else getting obscure videos showing up? Yes, I have been actually as well. And not only that, but I'll tell you what, if you guys want to have a fun experience, why don't you sign out of your YouTube account one of these days, and then plug YouTube in and see what videos you got. That's the state of affairs. That is the state of sort of the modern media amalgamation as it relates to the new Facebook algorithms. Look who's here. He's the cat that is on time. It's Jasper. Jasper the data cat, the astro cat. Jasper the conspiracy cat. By the way, I'm up to about 6 shirt orders. Could use a little more, so we can get these shirts out. I need 24. That's my minimum for the shirts. Hopefully we can get those out. I could do a smaller order of 12, but it would be better if I did 24. So right here at 15minutesofflame.com, you can order the shirt. So everybody's ordered a shirt, hang in there. It'll get to you as soon as I ramp up the orders. There's male and female sizes, and the male version of the shirt will not have pink letters, okay? So the male version of the shirt, if you want one, will have gray letters. So, yes, there he is. Okay, so let's get the show on the road. Let's get things rolling here. We had a great show last night, by the way, over on the 11th house side. Almost 2 minutes of astrology. If you're into that sort of thing, again, into the week ahead, I'm going to skip a little astrology today. We get into the week ahead and a bunch of other stuff. And then Friday, on the same channel, had another great show with Brian Mertz and with Sam Brannon. And we got into thinking globally and acting locally. So it was a very cool show. Lots of content available out there. All right. Speaking of content, this story crossed my screen yesterday. But before I get into the story, somebody else died, and 140 people who went from central Oklahoma to the Dominican Republic for a Jimmy Buffett thing. A lot of those people got sick. And there is a lot of weird shit happening down in the DR. I don't know what's going on down there. We had David Ortiz, Hall of Famer, former Boston Red Sox. He got shot at a bar. He was hanging out at a bar. It was a total hit. Then on video, you got American tourists going down there drinking bad booze. The group from Oklahoma, they came back, toxicology report on one guy, said he had 2 strains, not one, but 2 strains of E. coli. Lost 15 pounds while he was there. People were puking their guts out. I guess everybody that was up to day 4, they were having a grand old time. After day 4, things got ugly. So anyway, stay away. I just feel like that there's a lot of hate out there for the West and for the North. I just feel like there's a lot of hate. And if I lived in the Dominican Republic, is a place of extreme poverty, and all of a sudden it's become this mega hotspot to go to because everything else in the Caribbean has been kind of overdeveloped and really pricey, so it's become kind of an affordable place. But I don't think the Dominicans really like what's going on. They'd rather have their simplistic and more kind of, I guess, free lifestyle, perhaps more impoverished than being slaves and still being impoverished. I don't know. I'm not there, but that's just my sense. And that's happening. So we're going to run today till about 10 after. So I don't want to get into this. I'm going to leave you guys. Well, I'm going to break this story. I don't have enough time to read the entire thing. So I'm going to broach the story. I'm going to send you some links, and you guys can follow up on it. It's a very interesting story, and hardly anybody's picking it up. I got it from Henry Macau. He got it from another website. It's about this guy, Mark Zuckerberg, and the story I'm gonna read you is pretty shocking. I'm gonna grab some links here so you guys can. It's shocking, but it's not unexpected. It's not unexpected. Let me grab. I'm going to take you to the original story so you guys can grab the linkage. Hey, there's Charles. Nice to see you, Charles. What's happening? All right, so grab this over here. Let's get over here. Charles in Reno, right? Biggest little city in the world. There's that link. All Americans assume to be targeted throughout Central America. It's part of the opposition. They don't fight fair. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. We're now the whole thing. The whole thing is. Let me get over to the 15-minute side. The whole thing is a Bolshevik plot. Bolshevik plot. That's what's going on here. Let's see what we got here. Paste this up. There we go. It's for you guys over 15. We're in a worldwide, globalized, Bolshevik plot. I know it sounds totally paranoid, but we're in a war right now. If you haven't figured it out, it's a massive culture war. And there have been numerous groups that have been deployed on the West right now, and it's all being run through propaganda and hate. And these are very intense times. They're not easy. They're not easy times to be in. Let's get into this. So this is from the website aimfortruth.org. I've never run across this site before. So I don't know. It's an interesting site, I guess. So it says American intelligence media has been able to quickly verify and this leads to members of the conclave. That supposition is speculation. The conclave does not deal in speculation, though. If one were to listen carefully to the admission of guilt by Sean Parker, longtime executive of Facebook, which he made repeatedly before the press, you hear that Sean knew all about the true creation of social media and true motivation. So this is basically. This is an insider piece. Okay. All right. Let me find this thing. Let me get to the heart of this. I'm having some latency issues here. I wonder if it's because the site is having a lot of traffic. Let's see. Give me one sec. All right. So this is an insider, theoretically. This is somebody who is a whistleblower, and I'm going to read you I'm going to read you a lot of it. I'm not going to read you all of it. So this is somebody who was with Mark Zuckerberg from the beginning. Okay, from the beginning. Let me throw his mug up there so you guys can stare into it. Let me do the mug shot one more time. There he is. Mark Zuckerberg, this is to every Facebook user. Mark Zuckerberg and all of us who were there from the beginning are lying to you and using your personal life as a government-controlled experiment in brainwashing and mind control. Basically a weaponized system of the military, CIA especially, that got out of control. At this point, Mark Zuckerberg has lost control of a company that he never really owned or operated. Truly, anyone who has ever worked with Mark knows that his mind is a blank. He is nothing more than a parrot for the government's handlers who created him. Mark is incapable of running a McDonald's, let alone one of the most powerful companies in the world. I'm just thinking about it. People, technology, temperatures for French fry fat, all that stuff, right? A little more difficult, I think. Not even his name is real, and his identity has always been covered up. Mark was chosen as a child for CIA training program because his relatives are some of the people who created the program. I'm not making excuses for Mark, but his choices have not been his own. Yes, he has become an evil sociopath who once believed in his heart of hearts that if he decided he wanted to be president, all he had to do is say he wanted the job and Facebook would deliver the election to him. This is the level of brainwashing Mark is at. He is not in contact with reality. You might think that a madman who could think he could be president because he said so would be discovered and accused of fraud. Well, that has happened, reportedly with the other three teams that were working at Harvard under Harvard President Larry Summers to create what DARPA and In-Q-Tel wanted the most, a cyber weapon that could control the minds of anyone that could be lured into it. Facebook was always a military weapon, just like Eric Schmidt's Google, which was incubated in the same fashion that Facebook was. Mark was a patsy, but a ruthless, heartless, cold-blooded, non-human patsy. He became this way through the brainwashing he received in his high school years by DARPA program called TIA that needed a boy genius to be the front man. This scam would make Mark into a global model of the young, cool, irreverent computer geniuses that rule the world and lead everyone to a cyber god of artificial intelligence. Mark was just an unwitting puppet at first. I felt sorry for him. I remember when I first became roommates with Mark in our sophomore year at Harvard. You think Mark knows who this is? Facebook knows who this is? This is where it gets, this is not that anonymous anymore. We were in Kirkland House on JFK Street and had to endure Dustin and Andrew. Mark hated them because they prevented us from sleeping together, even though we were in the same room. It was frustrating and kept our relationship secret. Little did I know that the thing that drew me to Mark, a certain openness for listening to anyone, also made him extremely promiscuous with both sexes. Mark had no morals, conscience, or shame. He also chased women on Craigslist and would sometimes just disappear at a rendezvous with them. He was like a blank slate that simply echoes what is happening in his environment. I loved and hated this aspect of his personality, but later found out we're all the same brainwashing programs they were subjected to during high school. If certain people spoke to Mark in person or on the phone, he would drop everything and do whatever they told him to do. Certain people have more power and effect over him. I eventually found out from Mark breaking down and crying that the brainwashing was permanent. It was all part of the position these people had promised to create for Mark. He didn't even know what this position was or entailed. But one thing Mark was sure of, he was only placed at Harvard for a while until his position became available to him, Mark was certain that this promise of a position included a great deal of money and power, aphrodisiacs to an incurable narcissist. I'm not sure that she dropped out of Harvard at the end of her sophomore year and became filthy rich. That I wrote on Mark's success to become quite wealthy myself. All four of the members of the club Mark eventually named the Fellowship became wealthy by anyone, but he loved men more than women. He actually used to hate all women. So Mark cheated and would bring the new boy home to me to join in. I was never into that like Mark was. He was abusive, but would never admit it, especially to young boys. Eventually, there were three of us that remained lovers with Mark. Mark always had panic attacks and would break down frequently due to the brainwashing. According to Mark, he would cry about his mother and the torture she let them do to him. At those times, Mark's mouth ran on open, and he would tell his bed partners about all the pain and horrible plans these evil people did to him. Early on, his doubts and fears almost consumed him at night. He could hardly sleep due to nightmares. Once Mark became filthy rich, he simply used drugs to mask these fears. But if you get him upset about the creation of Facebook, Mark will freak out and have a panic attack because he always messes up the story and looks like an idiot. He can't stand it. I saw that Harvard didn't have a Facebook, so I made one, or something close to that. The journalists let him get away with that lie, like they always have. Mark Greenberg, that's his real name apparently, Zuckerberg, did not write one single line of programming source code for Facebook. Those are lies and propaganda generated by his government, military handlers, and military handlers. Everyone knows that the Winklevoss twins, Aaron and Cameron, won a $65 million adjunct code attached to the original stolen source code, which was given to Mark by Professor James Chandler and IBM. That $65 million bit of dirty knowledge was pretty profitable for a couple of cute Harvard crew rower jocks with no interest in me. Mark simply had others adjust the code into what was a government-sponsored military weaponization of a cyber warfare project directed by the president of Harvard, Larry Summers. Even Summers himself had his own budding student and staff directory being developed by the Harvard computer staff called Facebook. Mark didn't even create the name. The Winklevoss contract, HC, that they changed to Connect You. Aaron Greenspan was developing House system, and Paul Seglia was working with Mark to modify his StreetFact software into a Facebook too. Mark developed nothing, absolutely nothing. Hack was not from Mark himself. Mark was the middleman for those who were the overseers of the big project, as it was called. From the president of Harvard to the PayPal Mafia, National Venture Capital Association, In-Q-Tel, DARPA, NSA, CIA, DIA, to the worst patent thieves in America, James Chandler, Hillary Clinton, David Kapos, Robert Mueller, and the rest of the big tech group, Mark is just like the other fake front man chosen to represent the numerous other social media companies. Eric Schmidt was the poster child for the Silicon Valley geniuses who ran corporations that are basically exempt from prosecution as the facade for military weaponized companies that are always funded by the same evil bankers. Fidelity Investment, Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, BlackRock, J.P. Morgan, HSBC, Excel Partners, Kleiner Perkins, and the rest of Silicon Valley venture capitalists who always make a killing from companies who get no-bid contracts. Those are government contracts. These companies like Facebook are just an excuse for black ops experiments to control the enemy, and Mark doesn't know who the enemy is. Mark's lack of a moral compass made him the perfect patsy for the new military experiments on U.S. citizens. I believe now, since Mark was well aware of the evil intentions of the government, that he has committed crimes of many types with clear, premeditated intention of harming every Facebook user. That is why Mark let Facebook be used to manipulate elections. He has no moral core. I personally saw the template that Hillary ordered that uses Facebook to manipulate voters to win elections for her. Given the amount of election interference by big tech in 2016, I became a reluctant believer in miracles. I have seen the truth concerning the supposed Russian interference and can tell you that it was all made up and, in fact, was the exact opposite of what the media reported. I've seen so many illegal actions of Facebook that I'm indeed complicit with the crimes. This is one of the reasons why I must remain anonymous. You're not doing a very, very good job of that, by the way, whoever you are. But I assure you, if I testified, Mark and I would be locked up with the other members of the fellowship, as well as many, many other Facebook employees. It is due to the truth that is currently coming out of the media that I feel I can reveal what I witnessed, so that Mark in the U.S. and British military-controlled Facebook can be charged with criminal activity instead of simply being hit with antitrust charges that will only split Facebook into many subsidiaries, which would make Mark even more rich. That's an important point, by the way. If they split Facebook up and basically did an antitrust suit against Facebook, Zuckerberg and all the Facebook people would only become richer, just like what happened with the Baby Bells and Standard Oil. Then the poor suckers who believed in Facebook will be left holding the bag. So Facebook, the people who really wanted Facebook to do something, they wind up holding the bag, and then Zuckerberg gets filthy rich. An empty bag of gutted Facebook worth little or nothing. Mark will simply rebrand and go on with multiple companies, so it'll be just as big as Facebook. He will escape unscathed, protected again by his military handlers, who, by the way, were insider traders from the beginning of Facebook and will be allowed to buy into the new companies from the beginning also. Once again, the use of taxpayer dollars goes to private corporations run by stooges and controlled by non-Americans. Yes, I just called Mark a stooge because he actually has no clue what he is doing at all. Just ask him to write a simple program in any code he would like. He can't. He's a fraud and always was. Though I will not tell you the members of Mark Zuckerberg's fellowship group were, I can point out that all the original members of Facebook knew from the beginning that it was a military project for cyber warfare and mind control. Everything done from the beginning was an experiment to see just how far a social media platform could go to conquer the enemy through behavioral manipulations with electronic warfare. The idea that Mark wanted to connect all college students in America was a novel idea that was far from the true intention of mind control of every user in the world. Free platforms like Google, Gmail, Facebook, and the rest were confidence tricks to get users to experiment on. My old buddy Sean Parker, an early member of Facebook, has confessed all to the media and specifically told the truth that Facebook was meant as a cyber drug to create control addicts, digital addicts. As Sean said, we knew from the beginning it was harming every user, and that is why we never let our friends or our children use these systems. It harms them tremendously. And that was the original intent of the media. Mark and I were told by representatives of DARPA that that was the intent of Facebook from its inception. The U.S. Patriot Act allows the military to consider every American a possible terrorist or enemy warfighter until proven otherwise. Every person on the internet, which was also created by DARPA, is considered a cyber terrorist. The military sees it as their job to create systems to surveil, target, disarm, and aggressively remote control the user. I hated the idea from the first time I heard of it. Personally, I've never used Facebook and don't let anyone I love use it. So this goes on for quite a bit. It gets into Sheryl Sandberg, who is Larry Summers' squeeze. Sheryl is, I think, the CEO of Facebook, COO of Facebook now. She's on a fairly high management level. There are people like Andrew Marshall, James Chandler. There's a whole host of stuff in here. The Facebook operation also coordinated their activities with the Rose Law Firm in Little Rock, Arkansas, and the group that gathered around Hillary Clinton's patent thefts. Every Facebook insider who was there from the beginning knows these things to be true, but would never speak of it for fear of retaliation and possible death. We were speaking about a theft of literally many trillions of dollars in intellectual property, trade secrets, patents, designs, and stolen programming source code. There was this website that got into this in very intense detail and basically tracked all these people who were involved in the patent theft, which is really significant. And that's where all the money is made, is on the patent side of things. So this thing goes on and on and on and on. And I do not have enough time today to read you the entirety of the article because I've got a big day ahead of me. Got a little bit of a late start today. I was up late last night. After I do the shows on Sunday night, for some reason, I can't go to bed that early. Let me check in with you guys over in the chat zone. What do we got? Audio? My audio here? Let's see what do we have. He's an evil freak, the ramp boy look. NYPD have been shown, yeah, there's the NYPD stuff. What's going on, Oswald? Hi, Janet. Are they in panic trying to get people about how good fake vids have become? Prelude to denying the legit vids are all about to be shown. Ooh, that's a really good point, Ian. Really good point. Good one. Hey, Joe, what's going on? Hello, JMP. T-Girl, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda, help me get out of my heart. I love that song. I love that song. I used to love the Beach Boys and their harmonies. Boom, boom, boom. Another mind control group, right? The Beach Boys. 20th century. 20th century was the embryo of mind control, and now we're living in the birth and the afterbirth of mind control, apparently. I'm going to get on out of here. I just wanted to touch base with you guys, say good morning on a Monday, give you that article, which I thought was really, it's packed full of stuff. And again, this is an insider. Not a lot of people are reprinting this article, by the way. Cheryl's word. Not a lot of people are reprinting this article, by the way. So read it, put it through your filter, see if it actually has some resonance and some meaning and some truth. And if it does, file it away, share it. I've been having this tug of war with my relationship with Facebook for the last few months. I don't go there as much as I used to. I started a new group and with Rob, 11th House Rob. I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to nuke my my personal page on Facebook. Just letting you all know. I think the personal page on Facebook is going to go away. I'll still have the group stuff, 15 Minutes of Flame site over there. I think I'll still post stuff there. Probably doesn't really matter. I just don't want personal things up there anymore. Apparently it's very hard to get all that down, but I'm going to figure it out. In the meantime, have a great Monday. Have a great week. We've got the full moon still in conjunction with Jupiter. And there's a lot of big truths expanding. Tap into your emotional, quote-unquote, emotional truth. As Bruce Lee said, emotional content. Emotional content. I'm Robert Phoenix. You've been listening to 15 Minutes of Flame. Use your head to discern what's real, with your heart to say what's possible. I'll see you guys tomorrow.